mansion vacuum out and just start going to town in here to clear the area, exorcise whatever spirits happen to be haunting this room. But I'm gonna finish the video regardless. But if you see my eyes roll into the back of my skull and I start levitating off the chair during it, just know it's a haunting in Pittsburgh here, or perhaps the cringe was too unbearable here with the subject recovering. But anyway, back on topic. Sniper Wolf, huge channel. She mainly does TikTok reacts, which has made her the punching bag of the internet recently. She's caught more fire than the sequel to the Hunger Games because a lot of people have been stating that what she does isn't really reacting to content, it's mainly just stealing it, freebooting it. And the entire internet has come together like this giant singularity and all collapsed onto Sniper Wolf as well as some other react channels as well for this type of content. And by far the biggest soldier on the front line of this battle is Jax Films. Jax Films made a whole video going over why what she does isn't acceptable and even made an entire channel dedicated to making fun of her and her content. And he even has an entire bingo game that takes the piss out of her content more than a catheter takes the piss out of a hospital patient. He has pretty much daily uploads of just making fun of each of her daily reacts. This ongoing feud has been escalating and continuing for quite some time. We're in like season 5 of this anime arc here, and it's only popping off more and more. That takes the piss out of her isn't acceptable, and even made an entire channel dedicated to well as some other react channels as well for this type of content. And by far the biggest soldier on the front line of this battle is Jax Films. Jax Films made a whole video going over why what she does isn't acceptable and even made an entire channel dedicated to making fun of her and her content. And he even has an entire bingo game that takes the piss out of her content more than a catheter takes the piss out of a hospital patient. He has pretty much daily uploads of just making fun of each of her daily reacts. This ongoing feud has been escalating and continuing for quite some time. We're in like season 5 of this anime arc here, and it's only popping off more and more. And this whole situation has led to a can of worms opening. Pandora's box has been unleashed. So it's been a massive conversation across the entire internet with tons of content creators weighing in on it, such as Dark Viper having an entire series on React content. Mudahar's made quite a few pieces on it as well. Just tons of channels that have all been talking about it recently. And it's led to this witch's cauldron, this stew that's been brewing and bubbling. And now the cup runneth over, and all of this has spilt from the internet to the real world. Allegedly, Sniper Wolf has just doxed Jax Films. In an Instagram post, she posted this. And it was more than just this picture here. Apparently she even posted one of his house, which obviously I'm not going to show you. I'm not here to just like hop on and give you like a 4K display of Jax Films dojo here because Sniper Wolf posted it on her story. It's just an extremely degenerate, fucked up response to this whole situation from Sniper Wolf here. It's borderline illegal, I think. I don't think you can just dox somebody like this. And if it's not illegal, it's against YouTube's rules at the very least. And it violates the Geneva Convention of Internet Content Creators, where you never take internet beef into the real world. It's just going too far with this whole thing. Jax Films was just making critiques on her content as well as making fun of it, which is something everyone does all the time, every single fucking day. And to go to this extreme where you dox him for it is just an incomprehensible, insano-style step. Now, Jax Films posting about this on Twitter obviously gained a lot of traction. This isn't exactly some kind of like whoops-a-daisy moment, you know, a mistake that could happen to anyone. This is some pretty malicious shit. There's not really a defense of it. You can't just make the claim like, well, I just wanted to kind of talk it out face to face. Like, no, that's not how this works. You don't go up to someone's house like you're about to try and sell them solar panels in order to hash out your internet beef unannounced, especially not in the middle of the night too. That's threatening. Like that is not a normal, sane way of handling things. So when this started getting traction, Sniper Wolf herself caught onto it and deleted the post and then said this. She said, accusing me of doxing is defamation. I have no idea how to dox. He literally posted his address on Google and said I threatened him and doxed him. Jax Films said, you posted a video tonight of you outside our home to your 5+ million followers to see while my wife and I were inside. I can't make it any simpler than that. If that's not doxing, no idea how to dox. He literally posted his address on Google and said I threatened him and doxed him. Jax Films said, you posted a video tonight of you outside our home to your 5+ million followers to see while my wife and I were inside. I can't make it any simpler than that. If that's not doxing, why did you delete it? That's kind of a checkmate moment right there. He got her with the scholar's mate. Posted his address on Google and said I threatened him and doxed him. Jax Films said, you posted a video tonight of you outside our home to your 5+ million followers to see while my wife and I were inside. I can't make it any simpler than that. If that's not doxing, why did you delete it? That's kind of a checkmate moment right there. He got her with the scholar's mate. Like, you showed up to his house unannounced in the middle of the night, and then when people started to point out how that's not acceptable behavior and is very much in line with doxing, you deleted it. So you can recognize that it's bad. I don't really know how you'd Phoenix write an argument together that it's not doxing. Like, I don't even understand the statement she makes about saying that Jax Films posted his address on Google. She's talking about Google like it's the gamefaqs.com board. Like, I don't think he made a sponsored paid post with just his address as the first thing that comes up when you type in Jax Films. You definitely would have to go out of your way to find that information. I don't think he, like, geotagged his spot, made it like a Pokemon Go stop, and, like, really was advertising where he lives. Like, this is not common information. You went out of your way to find it and then went to his address. Like, I just really can't think of any justification for it. I've seen a couple of people huffing massive amounts of copium, nearly toxic levels of copium, saying, like, she went there to handle things like an adult, unlike Jax Films, who just speaks behind a computer. And that's just straight up delusional, if you ask me. No normal people are going to hash out their internet beef in the middle of the night, in person, unannounced. right? Like going up to his house like she's about to, sell solar panels to him or something and ambush him with this conversation about this feud they have is not normal or acceptable. It's just like a malicious, weird thing to do. And wow, that man, a ghost just haunted my vocal folds on that one with that voice crack. Goodness gracious. Overall, I'm just shocked that Sniper Wolf, with as long as she's been on the internet and as large as she is, would think for even just a second that she'd somehow be able to get out of this situation without huge backlash and problems from it. Again, this is something that extends beyond just like normal internet etiquette. This is like downright against rules to do something like this. So I definitely think Jax Films is in the right here. He's very upset about it, probably a little concerned because, who knows who else might go to his house next since she posted it on a massive Instagram account. Like, that is a legitimate fear. She also posted this, again in response to the whole situation, saying, "This creep has been harassing me for months, then plays victim, saying I threatened him when I just wanted to talk to him. I have no ill intentions. It's so sad when people have to constantly create drama to pay their bills." But this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is a crazy straw of a statement. Like, it's taken all kinds of weird twists and turns that aren't computing in my little noodle up here. If you just wanted to talk to him, why wouldn't you just reach out to him through normal channels online? I'm sure he would have responded to you instantly. He seems to respond to everyone about everything in regards to the entire React situation. So I feel like if you had reached out to him, he would have been thrilled to talk to you about it. But again, I'm not his fucking PR guy. I don't know, maybe you did reach out to him and he didn't see it or he ignored it. I have no idea. But regardless, you going to his house to try to talk to him that's some psychopath shit. Like, that's not a normal thing that anyone should be doing. There's other channels that you could have tried beforehand. Go to one of his bingo nights on Twitch and be like, "Hey, listen, Buster, I'm ready to hash it out. Let's talk." And again, I'm sure he probably would have seen that, and that would be a lot less scary than having you show up in the middle of the fucking night to his home unannounced. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I think the goal here was to either scare him or put his information out there to maybe some less than savory individuals that could also scare him. I don't know, but regardless, the way you handled this is atrocious and dangerous. Like, downright, like, dangerous thing to do. So I totally understand the response from Jax Films about this and being frightened by it, because this is fucked up. So making a massive blunder like this, where you would...
As the list of Genshin Impact characters continue to grow with every new patch, the number of stories and lore can begin to feel massive and overwhelming. I mean, who has the brain capacity to remember details about every single character anyway? So let me do you a service and explain the lore of all the playable characters in Genshin Impact in less than one sentence each. Main character gets isekai'd and looks for his sister, but spends most of his time running errands for random NPCs. Peaceful synthetic human created with alchemy, but secretly has the power to annihilate the entire world. Buff introverted bookworm lives to ignore everyone because he takes crap from absolutely no one. PlayStation Collab gone wrong. Police officer that does everything by the books but repeatedly breaks flight regulations on a daily basis. Entertainment over 9,000, intellect negative 9,000. Mysterious doctor secretly makes a deal with the snake to live longer only to help others by slowly killing himself. Idol with a voice that can heal people but doesn't even know what an idol is. Hot pirate warlord who actually has the power to split a gigantic monster in half without even needing the power of a vision. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. On paper, just a cool 4-star character, but in actuality babysits 3 5-star characters. Self-proclaimed news reporter, but probably more suited to become a YouTuber. Actually an insanely powerful exorcist that ironically has never seen ghosts because they all ran away fearing for their lives. Hot, guns, thighs. Happy and wholesome character on the outside, depressing and traumatic backstory on the inside. Unrivaled and powerful general of the military, but spends most of his time watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And explaining why his jokes are funny. Literal boogeyman that only shows up once a year, only to leave us with nothing but questions than actual answers. Portrayed as an absolute legendary mercenary. As the list of Genshin Impact characters
Cure.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, is Muda bringing us like vodka or something?
Yeah, that's
Pop
what,
that out.
when you brought out the Yukon, I'm like, oh my god.
We call these magic potions.
But why does it taste like Red Bull? Just
all of them taste like Red Bull.
They all taste like Red Bull,
like,
yeah.
Pete one time had this thing because there's a drink called Oromonsi.
Oronamisi.
I can never fucking say it. Oronamisi. It's basically just an energy drink, but I guess it looks like a vitamin, like kind of a medicine bottle.
Yeah.
And Pete was like, man, I used to drink this all the time when I was sick. I'd have like 4 of them.
Yeah.
I was like, Pete, there's like 20 grams of sugar in one of those. And he's like, oh, I guess I did feel something.
Maybe that's why I felt sick.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, if you drink 4 energy drinks when you feel sick, you're not going to feel much better.
You're fucking gone, bro.
God, I remember.
Christ.
Yeah, so that's maca apparently is also good for erectile dysfunction. Maca apparently it gets you like mega hard. So
Wait, what? It gets you harder? Is it?
it keeps.
I'll give you an update in 20.
Yeah.
That's a trash day special right there.
Entire trash taste episode, but we're all rock hard the whole
Just take a
time.
Viagra.
And you will never know which episode tastes mega hard. So
Wait, what? It gets you harder? Is it?
it keeps.
I'll give you an update in 20.
Yeah.
That's a trash day special right there.
Entire trash taste episode, but we're all rock hard the whole
Just
time.
take a Viagra.
And you will never know which episode it is.
Is Viagra over the counter in Japan?
I have no idea.
I
And
very much doubt
In
it.
the UK, they like a few years ago they made it over the counter.
Really?
So you can just rock up to the store and buy Viagra.
What? Just like at a convenience store?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So this episode is
I'm good. My penis is healthy.
yeah, but I very much doubt it, just because there's a lot of stuff that are over the counter in other countries. It's just a lot harder to find in Japan. They're
Yeah.
very much.
Just sounds kind of wild, just having a rock hard penis, completely out of your control.
Viagra is on prescription basis.
Prescription.
It's prescription based here. Yeah.